And there's going to be unfamiliar terrain and situations you can change, but you want the artificial intelligence, and I use that term very loosely, like a super state machine. You want it to be able to look at the situation and say, okay, I've got a map I've never seen before. I've got a situation that I've never seen before. I still need to come out ahead somehow. And as a programmer, you need to be able to kind of teach the AI how to look at the situation. And at first I thought it was going to be incredibly difficult, but now that I'm about 3/4 of the way through doing it, it's actually turned out a bit easier. And the approach that I used was by breaking things down into their elements. Like, for example, when it's an enemy unit's time to choose an action, the very first thing it does is it stops, and it takes a moment to survey its situation. And code-wise, it just breaks down into a bunch of little functions that go out and examine the data of the game, the map, the people, the units. It says, okay, am I surrounded? Do I have good elevation? Am I in a good position? Do I have good, defensive status? Are there any targets of opportunity near me? Are there any friendly units that are close that could use my help? Am I near like a strategic hold point? It goes through and it evaluates, dozens and dozens and dozens of these potential situations, and it catalogs them all. And then at the end, it goes through and by assignment of values that I put in earlier, it comes up with 4 potential actions. And the top 4 potential actions that are presumed to have best consequences is going to randomly pick one of those. The highest one has like a 75% chance of being picked, and then the other 3 are divided amongst the other remaining 25%. So there's an element of what I like to call randomosity to it, in that it's not predictable. Like if you're playing chess with a computer, for example, and you leave it on the same skill level and you make the same moves, it's going to play exactly the same way every time. And so when you're playing a game against the AI, it's going to do different things because in the heat of battle, people sometimes make wrong decisions, or sometimes they make accidentally brilliant decisions based on just the heat of the moment, and I want to try to simulate that.
So do you ever allow for stuff like a character who is partial to always attacking from higher ground, or partial to always helping out a nearby friendly target as opposed to going to attack, or anything like that? Or is it kind of always pick the best thing, and or always have the highest probability to pick the best thing, otherwise random probability to do other stuff?
Well, yeah, the best action for any given unit is going to be based on what their class is. There are only 6 different classes of units. I want to keep it very simple and have them, instead of having 40 or 50 different classes that were mostly meaningless, have 6 very distinct classes of units with different functions on the battlefield. So if you have an archer, for example, and archers have, in this particular game, notoriously bad hand-to-hand combat skill. So if they have a possibility of sniping a target of opportunity from afar, for example, an enemy unit that's about to die, as opposed to charging into the fray and moving 3 or 4 blocks down into a bunch of enemies and engaging in hand-to-hand combat, even though they've got a friend down there that needs help, they're going to have to weigh the situation really closely because they know that's not their strength. Whereas a typical soldier unit might say, okay, I don't have any ranged weapon skill, so I can't help the guy way out there, but I can wade into this group of people and, try to get my friend out.
Okay, so following up on that question, do you allow for them to ever make stupid decisions?
Yes.
Awesome.
I wouldn't really call it stupid by virtue of intentional stupidity, but sometimes you may end up in a situation where there's really not a lot of viable actions. For example, in a situation that's particularly tense, you're in how do I put this accurately? You're in a really volatile type situation, and there's really only a couple of things you can do that are worth a damn. Anything else you're going to do is going to be detrimental. It's going to go ahead and pick 4 of what it considers to be, its best viable options. And some of them might not be so good. And there is a chance that it's just going to do something boneheaded. And, it's never going to do anything blatant like commit suicide by jumping off of a bridge or something.
You should allow that.
Yeah.
The secret level where all the enemies are totally stupid.
Anyway. Has suicide. Yeah.
That's still pretty cool. That was a big, diversion from what we were actually talking about, but it was interesting, so I let it go. Yeah. So that does sound like a pretty difficult problem in setting up AI that's believable. But having taken AI classes, it makes sense the approach that you're taking. So
I'm really bad about not doing research before I go into something. I'll come up with an idea and I'll say, well, I don't know how other people do it, but I'm going to give it a try here. And then when I get done, I go and see how other people have accomplished things, and it's usually a lot better.
If it works, it works, because the people who are playing aren't going to know what the hell the code is doing underneath the scene, so
exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Unless
All right.
it crashes.
You got a question, Mike?
I said unless it crashes.
Unless it crashes, but it won't, because we write code that works the first time every time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No bugs.
Especially me.
All right, so my most difficult problem I've ever overcome. There are plenty. I have two that I picked out for this discussion. The first one was getting around my shearing problem, but I've talked about that so much I really don't want to focus on it again. So, yes, that was one of the biggest problems that I've had to overcome because it was such a pain in the ass. But another one that's strictly not coding-wise would be giving up on my game Ninkatsu. That was a huge issue for me because I spent a lot of time working on that game. Probably something like the course of 2 years, not 2 years straight, but over the duration of 2 years, I finally, I put out this demo, I put it out into the world, and everyone was kind of like, it's alright, but it's missing something important, like side-scrolling or platforms, explosions and lasers coming out of his eyes, and he needs 4 arms, and, but it was just one of those things where it's, like I was trying so hard to get it out there and make it good, and then I had to, Ninkatsu was a damn problem child, and it was like the biggest problem that I had. I wanted to either finish working on it and have a complete game or work on something new. So, that was one of the most difficult things that I've had to overcome, which was saying, I need to take this game that's almost done and kind of put it under the carpet and just say, you know what, that's gone for now. I'm just going to work on something else. And that's all there is. There's nothing else to it. It was just a difficult decision that had to be made. And there you have it. That's it.
Yeah. Well, that's as I was expecting something more on a technical level, but yeah, that works.
Yeah, it's not technical at all. It's how do you give up on one of your little babies? There you go. I wanted to go the technical route and say, I did all this stuff to figure out how to solve shearing, but I talk about that every episode. So
that's really nice because we all abandon projects all the time, but nobody ever really talks about it. It just comes up and go, I quit working on that like a year ago, and then it's just the subject's dropped. We never really talk about our rationale behind it, how we felt, whether we took any of the ideas and decided to absorb them into later on projects, or if we just dropped it completely. And it's nice to have that window into the developer process. So.
That is something we should definitely cover on episode 11. That would be awesome to talk about abandoned projects and reasons for it, because I could go on forever about Ninkatsu. But we don't want to go on forever. We've already been talking for a long time about this subject. So we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, it's Juicy Tidbits time. Juicy Tidbit time. Our Juicy Tidbit question for episode 10 is the following. If your dad, your father, walked out on your mom or your mother, which video game character would you want to be your stepdad? And the character has to be a male, can't be female. So I'm going to start this one off, all right? So if my dad walked out on my mom, which would probably never ever happen, I hope, the video game character that I would really want to be my stepdad would be Samus, but that's a chick, so that doesn't work.
Can I pick a shapeshifter that can turn into a woman?
No, you can't pick a shapeshifter. Anyway, it was a toss-up between either Simon Belmont or Mega Man, but I think I'm going with Mega Man, just because, I don't know, he can steal people's powers. It would be totally awesome. I'll be like, Dad, steal my power. And he'd be like, no, I've got your power. I don't know what it would be, but it would be totally awesome. That's all. That's all I got. Mega Man, baby.
The Metroid baby, was that a male?
I don't. It's Metroid. It doesn't count. Kenny, what do you got?
Yes. Oh, yes. Guybrush Threepwood, dude. Guybrush freaking Threepwood.
Oh.
Yes. Yes, man. I mean, you got to think about this. Like, I'm a kid, and he's like a pirate and all, and he, like, takes us on vacation to Monkey Island, and we get to, like, sail the seas and all that shit, and, oh, man, this dude could, like, serve grog at my graduation party. Oh, man, all the cool party tricks. He can, like, he can do fencing, he can do insulting, you know, he can teach me all the awesome insults and shit, and, like, we can go see his friends, like, the Swordmaster, or, oh, yeah, the voodoo lady, man. She's got, like, some, like, rubber chickens or some, like, voodoo sex toys or some awesome shit. There's no telling what the hell is going on, but, like, the possibilities, man. If a pirate was my stepdad. We're done.
Mike, who would be your stepdad?
I decided I would have to go with P.T. Piranha.
P.T. Piranha?
Yeah, I mean, he's just awesome. He'd be my stepdad.
You sure
He'd be
you
my dad.
Any particular reason why you want a big, Venus flytrap plant to be your dad?
Oh, no, not in particular.
All right, that wraps it up for episode 10 of the Game Developers Refuge podcast. As always, you can email us at gamedevelopersrefuge@gmail.com. No apostrophes, no fancy stuff. That's pretty much it. Closing out, I'm your host, Jay. On behalf of Kenny and Mike, we're out of here.
What I try to do.
Do
I get bonus points?
Yeah, you'll get one brownie tidbit point. I don't want to introduce too much crazy stuff to the... Shut up, Mike. What was that? At first I thought it was like clapping, and then I was like, wait, that sounds like some kind of...
All right.
Yeah, this is OD, open discussion.
Oh, really?
Just
Oh,
tell
okay. I had some Nestea, and I had like a 3-day-old slice of pizza. I was really trying to get some shit done before I.
When you said nasty, it sounded like you said, I just had some nasty.
I just had some.
Oh.
You're an ass. More betterly?
More betterly, man.
Dude,
That's it.
your profane use of English is totally inspiring me to write a game.
Mike Doty can't be satisfied. He needs to satisfy himself. Dude, you're back on the porn. Bad guys who can find his path. Exactly, that's what I needed. Anyway,
Well, that covers it for Juicy Tidbits, and that also...
wait, don't I get 5 more minutes?
No, you don't get 5 more minutes. That wraps up episode 10. Hope you enjoyed
I
it.
didn't
It was
even get
no,
questions.
just
That's-
stop right now.
Oh yes.
No more talking.
Wait, can I
No.
change my answer?
You can't.
I decided I wanted J.C. Denton to be my stepdad.
Is that the guy from Deus Ex?
Sure is.
Dude, your dad sucks.
Hey, you better watch out. He's got all those nanotechnology.
All right, let me close out the podcast.
He'll whip you up.
I'll whoop you up. All right, that wraps it up
No.
for...
My
Damn it.
daddy will whip your daddy up. Your
Dude, Mega Man will fucking steal his powers and whip his ass down to next year.
No, my stepdaddy makes more money than your stepdaddy.
Dude, my stepdad doesn't need money. He's a friggin' robot.
Well, didn't.
He doesn't even need to eat food. He doesn't even need to
Well,
take a shit. He can just hang out all day.
I guess Thanksgiving dinner is going to be a lot of fun with your non-food eating stepdad, huh?
Yeah, it's
You
going to be
think
awesome. He's going to walk up to the fucking oven and be like, now I've got your power. And he's just going to cook that turkey in 2 seconds.
Yeah, but he can't eat it. And
So
like,
what? Think about all
you
the
can't-
sweet shit he can do.
if you make him a cake for his birthday, he won't eat it, and that means he doesn't love you.
Dude, he can take the power of the cake and make me a million cakes. I'll eat the cake. Shut up. All right.
I got
Okay.
you into it.
Let me close up the episode.